Yeah, yeah, do that. Yeah. Gotcha. I just got this, well, it's not the biggest, but it's a beautiful little silver fish on this the Silver Doctor inspired fly, and yeah, that was just a dream come true. So yeah, thank you, little friend. I'm gonna release you back to where you came from, hence where you came from. Hello there everyone. Today I'm gonna do a Silver Doctor variant. This one. Very nice little looking fly, great salmon fly. First of all, I'm gonna take my Future Fly tube, and then I'm just gonna add a bit of heat here to make this small bump here, where I want my fly tying to stop. Then I'm gonna put it on my needle here. This is a pro needle. I like the pro needle very much. It's actually better than the Future Fly one. It's more strong, it's more durable, and it simply works better. So I'm just gonna apply a bit of tying thread along down here. So I'm gonna cut this off, and then I'm gonna build the body. And for the body of this fly, I'm gonna use mylar. This is mylar cord, which is a very easy way to make a nice silver body. Simply take a piece of this, and you just pull out the center of this like so, and over the tube, make 1, 2, 3 turns of tying thread before you clamp down, like so. And then all these strands, you could leave them there, but I think they're a bit annoying, so I'm just gonna cut those away. This is actually a fly made by one of the best fly tyers I have seen in a long time. His name is Nils Folmer, and if you haven't seen him, then find him on Facebook and on Instagram. His flies is just out of this world. He is a true master of his of fly tying, and I am a huge fan. So if you by any chance happen to watch this, Nils, then this is a shout out to you, because you are doing a tremendously awesome job. Also catching a lot of nice fish, and I really hope to come and fish with you one day. But I must say I'm in awe at the level of expertise you apply to any fly I see you post. So a shout out to you, because well, you are a truly great tyer and fisherman. So I make a small butt from dubbing. Any dubbing will do. I use seal's fur here, and just a small whip finish, like so. This is simply just to give it kind of like a bit butt not a big butt effect, but a small butt effect, you could say, and then also to cover up where I tied down the other thing. This is not going to be a large fly, so I'm going to tie this, fasten my thread up here. And the crucial thing about making beautiful salmon flies is to not apply too much tying thread. Simply do not use too much thread, because if you use too much thread, you will make flies that are very in Danish we would call them smart, because they have so big a head. But I think you get what I'm saying. Limit the amount of thread you're using, and that's also why it's important that you use a strong thread, because if you use a strong tying thread, you can limit the usage of thread. So I'm gonna cut these off. As I said, this is a Silver Doctor variant. The Silver Doctor is a classic salmon fly that is absolutely astounding to look at, and this is simply, well, a modern version of that. I have been using this a bit, and I really like how it looks in the water. I've not caught any fish on this yet, but I know others who have, and I'm gonna be using this a lot on Iceland. So by the time I release this video, I hope you will there will be a lot of action. You will see the fly in the water, and you will see some salmon that I caught on this. So yeah. Well, now we're ready to go, and as you can see, I've not used too much tying thread. So next up, we're gonna make a wing composed of 3 different colors of hair, and when you do something like that, it's very, very crucial, very, very important that you do not use too much materials. I know this probably sound a bit counterproductive since I'm in the business of selling fly tying materials, but it is very, very crucial that you limit the amount of materials, because otherwise this will simply look too bulky and not look as good in the water as it could be. So first off, I'm going to take a bit of yellow hair, and what I've done is I simply remove some of the longest hairs here, and I also remove some of the woolly parts down below here. And then I tie this down, and this is not going to be very long because I want this wing to taper. And to do that, I'm tying because I'm tying three different wings in. I'm going to have the first one to be not very long, then the second one a bit longer, and then the last one the longest. So simply clamp down on it like that, and I use the Future Fly thread here because that's really, really strong and durable and very, very good. So as you can see, I only took 2 turns of tying thread here to actually accomplish this, tying this down. And I'm going to take the next color, it's red, and again I take a bit larger bundle than what I need, and I simply prepare the wing by taking out all the unwanted hairs here, like so. And this is still way too big. I'm gonna take out some of the woolly part. It's still too big. So as you can see, this is not very big, but it's more than enough for the salmon. Last year I fished on Kola, and I had tied 2 boxes full of stuff, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be the bomb. I had all the right flies I've heard of, should be great from back home, except for one, because a lot of the times up there they told me that a fly called the golden killer would be very good, but I thought that fly looked completely ridiculous because it was only a golden shank, a golden hook with 14 hairs of bucktail, 7 in black and 7 in yellow, and then jungle cock and 1 strand of flesh, and I thought that looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm not gonna tie many of those because I'm not gonna use something like that because it's well, basically it's too small, I thought. So I got up to Kola and fished a lot, and I didn't have any luck. I'm gonna prepare the blue wing the same way as I did the other 2, and then on the 3rd day I was out fishing with the guide, and he gave me a fly. And I looked at the fly and I said, oh well, my flies haven't worked, so I'm gonna try this, and it was the golden killer. And then I fished for about 10 minutes, and then he pointed to a spot and said, put your fly there, and so I did, and then I hooked the big salmon. So if you want to watch that full story, because that story is actually very good, it's called on salmon and becoming a Labrador, which is it's a fairly nice video. And if you haven't seen that, I will recommend that you do that, because I think the story there is something that you I could at least learn a lot from that, and did from that experience. As you can see, that was a bit too long, I think, so I'm gonna shorten it a bit, not much, but a bit. And then again, before I really clamp down, I'm sure that I have tying thread all the way around, and then simply apply some pressure. And as you can see, despite having some very small wings, then this wing actually looks rather big now. But the thing about these fox hair, this is marble fox, but but Arctic fox will be the same. Is they will in strong current they will really they will become very less bulky. Because of currents and stuff like that. So basically that's it for now for the wings. So what I'm gonna do is a neat trick. In order to have to actually be able to have, I'm gonna take one turn back, and then I'm gonna apply some super glue. And I'm gonna apply the super glue to my thread. So as you can see, the brush here on the Sabagab really works well for applying some glue to the tying thread here. And that helps me a lot, because that will decrease the number of turns I will have to make in order for these wings to stay completely where I put them, like so. And And the next thing is I'm going to take a scalpel. If you don't have a scalpel, then I urge you to get one, because they're very, very good at cutting songler strips, first of all, but they're also very, very good at cutting off leftover stuff on salmon flies. So I simply take this and I place it, not on top of the thread as it might appear, but just in front of the thread. And I simply just move it back and forth like this to cut off all the hairs. And as you can see, what this does is it actually minimizes the head of the fly by a huge amount, because no matter how cool a scissor you have, if you even have the Chemco, which is probably the deadliest and most best scissor in the world, the Future Fly scissor is also a great, you cannot get as close as you can with a scalpel. But it's important that you are you're fairly confident about what you have done so far before you apply the scalpel, and that's also why I did the super glue, because if you have not done this correctly, then you will lose a wing, and you'll have to start over. So I'm just gonna apply a bit more super glue here, very little, like so. And if there is too much, simply take something, some materials you have left over from this is part of the filling of the mylar, and I simply take this to remove some of the leftover super glue, because the leftover super glue will harden it. When it hardens, it will fill up some space and can give your fly a bit too bulky a look. So the trick here to get your flies to look absolutely astonishing and good is simply to be careful of how much thread you apply, but also be careful with the super glue and stuff like that. Then I'm gonna take a gray hackle. This is from a soft patch, but from a Metz hackle back will do nicely as well. And then I simply tie down this. I'm gonna tie this down in the tip. So the upper side of the feather is in towards me, because when I turn it, then it will be where I want it to, like so. Cutting that away, and then I simply turn my hackle. As I said, this is not going to be a very bulky fly, so I'm not going to use much hackle. I'm gonna try to do it a bit scarce, use it with care. So about 3 or 4 turns. If you want, you can strip one side off if you think it's too much. If you want a smaller fly, strip one of the sides of the hackles off, and then of course you can apply more turns if you like to do that, like so. And again, as you can see, I'm not using many turns of my tying thread, like that. Just gonna force some of this a bit down, like that. And now it's time to apply some of the cool looking stuff to this fly. This fly is, you could say, it would probably work very fine as it is now, but we're doing this in homage to the salmon, and because it's fun to tie. It's fun to tie something that looks good. So in order to do that, I'm gonna apply some extras now. First, I'm gonna take a grizzly feather and tie this down, so it's gonna be parallel to, well, ideally parallel to the red part of the wing, using 2 turns of tying thread, as you can see, and that adds a lot of contrast, and it really looks good. I have these feathers because a full saddle is a bit expensive, so I have taken the time to actually take some of these saddles and then simply rip them apart. And only select the most usable feathers and put them into small bags for your convenience. So you can buy a small package of these hackles without having to buy the entire saddle. what you want to do when you tie this is in order to make this easier to tie down, then tie simply on top of some of the fibers on some of the hackle fibers here, because that will help you. If you tie only on if you tie only on the stump here, you will have a hard time actually getting the feather to be where you want it. Oh, this feather is not. This was too broad, so I'm gonna take another one that is not that broad. A slimmer feather. That's not good either. Maybe this one. This one will do. You know, the proportions of this fly is important when you're actually building flies like this. The proportions is important, and of course it's important that both the feathers here align and have the same length. So like that. Okay, first part. So as you can see, here is one of the packages I was talking about, where I've hand selected the feathers. I have them for pike, so of course for pike it's different features than from what you wanted for, let's say flies like of this sort, or flatwing flies, which is also the type of flies that these feathers are used for. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another hackle here, a kingfisher blue one. And I'm just gonna sort a bit out here to look at these. And as you can see, these are fairly long, so you can actually use the same feather for several flies. And I'm gonna take one that has the correct, the right curve for each side. I wanted to gently follow the outline of the kingfisher blue. Oh, this one is good for my side. Let me just see. That one is good for your side. Like so. And again I take this and I put it on top here. So it follows the wing. Like that. Oh, it got a bit twisted there. Not completely correct. I'm looking so much forward to hopefully catch some nice salmon on this. Ah, this is teasing. Like that. There it was, perfect. Perfectly aligned. And then the same as you can see, I have not used that much tying thread again. I've only used about 2 turns to apply this feather. Gonna do the same on the other side. Like so. I'm leaving anything here. I'm gonna cut all this off later on, but then it's off to get the jungle cock. And when you select your jungle cock from your cape, if you buy the pro stuff, it's easy because all of them are alike. It's very important that you pick a feather from each side of the jungle cock to get the correct. Oh no. It was the super glue. You get the correct natural curve of the fiber incorporated to your fly. As you can see, this slightly shifts to one side, and that's why I need to add this on my side, because then the natural curve of this feather will be dynamic and look right on my side. Like so. And then I'm gonna do it on the other side as well. I'm gonna pick one from the other side here. That one is a beautiful feather. Like that. Ah, crap, I just wrecked my junk cock while trying to pull off the smaller part. That was too bad. That was a nice looking feather. There's one will do as well. So the devil is in the detail for tying beautiful salmon flies. Simply take your time and try to use as little tying thread as possible. And also, as you can see again, I'm tying on top of very few of the very few of the hackle fibers here, like so. Booyah. Like that. I like that. And then again, in order to keep this where I want it to be, I simply just take a small amount of super glue here, apply it to the tying thread as close to where the stuff is as I dare, and then simply like that. Like that, yeah. Good. The last thing we need is a hackle, and is a false hackle. And for this, I'm gonna use Guinea fowl. And Guinea fowl is very good because it has it's very beautiful. The colors here, the kingfisher blue is very beautiful, and it has a lot of the speckled colors here looks awesome. So I'm gonna take my Guinea fowl and then I'm gonna cut out the tip of it, like so. Then I'm gonna strip off all the stuff I don't need. So I have a Guinea fowl feather here that is only a part of the feather, about 1 centimeter long, because I'm gonna make a false hackle. I'm gonna turn this upside down, and then I'm gonna tie this down about there using 2 loose turns, and then I pull the hackle stem in order to make a false hackle. Then I distribute I pull it until I think that it's important to take big Guinea fowl feather, and then I pull it until it is distributed the way I want, like so. I'm actually gonna take a turn of thread and go back like that. Pull a bit more in this. This is not working according to my plan here. Like so. This can be a bit tricky, as you can see. Why is this not working the way I want it to? Like so. Ah, crap. This is teasing me a bit. Maybe I should take another feather. I probably shouldn't. It should not be the feather that is the matter. That is the problem here. It's probably just my meager talent messing with me. Like so. And as you can see now, I have a false hackle underneath here. Like that. Well, and then I'm gonna cut everything off I've tied down. Again, you can use the You can use the scalpel if you're fairly certain that everything is in order. And a good way to see if everything is in order is to take the test with, because I'm going to apply a small cone head in order to make my head completely uniform and nice looking. So I'm going to take one of these and simply see, will it be there? And as you can see now, I'm missing quite a bit. So this means that I need to cut off stuff in order to get this to work here. Because my head is now too long, and that's a bit annoying. I'm actually gonna redo this because I'm not satisfied with this, the way this look now. And then I'm gonna cut off some of these, because probably that's my main issue here is I have a bit too much stuff that has not been cut off correctly and is in the way. So like that. And then I'm gonna take a new feather. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but you know, it has to be, when you've done so much, when you put so much effort into a fly like this, you want your fly to actually look like you to look the way it's supposed to, because well, you've taken quite a bit deal of care to actually apply some craftsmanship and stuff like that. And well, it's probably not for practical use, it's probably not the most important in the world that everything is placed exactly in the right spot and stuff like that. But you know, I take pride in building stuff that is, well, basically that is beautiful and is nice looking. And according to the old to the old way of thinking, which is kind of like the premise and the base of and the base for these flies from old times, is that the king of fish is salmon. So that's why they incorporated all these crazy materials for the classic salmon flies, because well, the salmon is the king of fish, and you know, nothing is too good for the king. So you should take care and compose your flies well, because well, otherwise the king would not approve. So like that. This was way better. Gonna cut everything off, and then I'm gonna take a test again with my, and as you can see now it fits completely perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply some super glue and make one small, one or two knots, because you don't need to take, you don't need to make 3 or 5 or 6 with finish for this. And when you apply this super glue, be sure to actually support the brush here, or apply it to dubbing needle or something like that, because well, you need to have a steady hand, otherwise you can glue your hands to the fly or the wing completely in the wrong direction and stuff like that. So take a little care when you apply the super glue here, like that, pulling everything tight, cutting off my thread, and then simply pushing my cone head to where it's supposed to be. Oh, I want the jungle cock to be a bit more upwards. And that's how it's supposed to look. A small, nice, not easy, but beautiful and wonderful silver doctor variant. And if you have done this correctly, this fly will also be very strong, because you've applied some super glue on various places here, and also everything is covered, all the thread is covered by the cone head, and I must say I really enjoy these tube flies, because a lot of the times when you're fishing on streams and stuff like that, there's a lot of rocks and stuff like that, and when you use hooked flies, you often encounter the problem of having having the hook bent or wrecked or destroyed by rocks, and and then the fly is ruined. But you don't have that problem with the tube flies here. You simply just remove the hook, and your fly is intact. You don't have to take another fly and discard a perfectly good piece of art you've spent a lot of time creating, a lot of time thinking about. You simply just replace the hook, and you're good to go. Last thing you want to do here is, of course, to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already, because that would make me very, very happy, and you will get instant notification whenever I post something here on YouTube. Check out my web shop as well for a full material kit for this fly. But also otherwise, all you have to do is simply to cut off the tube here out in front here, and then take your lighter and simply gently hold it up to here, so the tubing here folds back, and your fly is ready to take it and put it back on the needle the other way around. So you can also see that my fly is actually also pretty good looking on the other side. And well, you're ready to go. And this fishes well with a triple or a double or a single hook, depending on circumstances and your preferred your preferences. And so there you have it, a small silver doctor variant, a fly I really enjoy tying and enjoy seeing swimming. Thank you for tuning in.